Hey guys, so welcome back in our tutorials. In today's tutorial, we're going to create this Christmas card using HTML and CSS. So this is a bit simple. If you can try it out before checking on what I've done, then that will be very great. So the first thing you might realize is that we have this image. This image is a tree image. This one, it has the file name of tree.png. And then to get this exact tree, you can head over to my GitHub repository. So you can head over to TechWithTwin GitHub. So the username is TechWithTwin, small case. And then go to a project called TikTok Projects. It is free. The project is public. And then go ahead and look for the Christmas promo project. And then you'll see a tree.png here, which you can just download. So let's get started. So let's go back to here. Let's close up that tree. You can see in my HTML, I'm only linking to the CSS file, which is style.css. And then inside the style, I'm only loading the a specific Google font code in Consolata. So let's get started. So this is a card. We have always done this. What we are going to do is to create a div.card. So you always do this. Then we can create the image. And the source is tree.png. The alert, we can say tree. And then let's give this one a width of 80. So this width, you have to try them out and see which width matches what you want, or else you can use CSS to style them. But I think using this informs the browser that I want you to request this width of an image. So the next thing is that you see we have this image, and then let's add the text Merry Christmas. I'm going to use a H2 and say Merry Christmas. And then after that, we have a paragraph. I'm going to give this paragraph a class of description because it's still a description. Then inside the description, I'm going to copy paste this description. Then I'm going to paste that. Yours, you can just type it out if you want to. Otherwise, go ahead into my GitHub repository and grab the finished version there. And then the next one is I'm going to call it p.cta. This is a call to action which says 50% off on your yearly premium plan. I'm still going to copy this. So Command C and Command V. All right, and then finally let's create this button. This button is unique. You can see it is animated. So you can see it has some animations. So you can see how nice and cool it transitions. So let's create that button. So we can say button, then get your gift. So that's it for HTML. So it's very simple. We only have the image, the heading, the description, and call to action in the button. So let's go to the CSS, and before then, let's go live on this project and see what we have. So this is what we have. We are going to style this and make sure it looks exactly as the finished version. So let's go ahead. The first thing in CSS, the first thing as we always do is to get the default styles ready. So we do it by making sure every item's margin is 0. And then the padding is 0 as well. And then you can do a box sizing of border box, just like that. Then you can see now everything goes to the edges. So let's get hold of the body. You can say body. We give it a padding so that everything is not close to the edges. We can give it a padding of 2rem. You can see now the card is away from the body's edges. The next one is to specify the font family. So you can say font family, and the font family name is in Consolata. And then as a default, let's use monospace. And then you can see this text changes. And then if you go back here, you can see the name of the font we are using. It's called in Consolata. Then next, let's display this flex. We want to put it in the middle of the page. So we can say justify content center. So nothing changes because this card takes up the whole width. So let's grab the card. So we can say dot card and then say width 300 pixels. All right, so that should be having a width of 400 pixels. Let's go back to the body and give it a background color. So I'm going to create a variable called blue. I can create it in the, yeah, still works. So we can say blue. And then it is hash 224 2E4C. That's the color we are looking at. And then I'm going to give the background color here as that color. So I'm going to say, that. Let me use that color. Then you can see the background color shows. Then the next thing is to give a background color of white in the card itself. And then you can see it doesn't work. That means we failed to add the correct spelling, which is card. And then now you can see the card moves to the center and then it gets the background color. So something else I realized is that the background color of the body is not exactly same to the one I have added as a variable. So we can use #1 B2735. That one. And then the next thing you can see that the card elements are so close to the card's edges. So we can come here and give the padding of 1 rem. Right. The next thing is that you might realize that these edges are too sharp. So we can give it a border radius of maybe 5 pixels. You can see now it is rounded and smooth. The next thing is to display these flex so that we can give them a gap. So we can say display flex direction. Now we want column. Nothing changes a lot. You can see the button tries to take up the full width, but our main concern is to also add a gap. And then I'm going to use 0.7 rem here. You can see it. So what next can you see? We want to align all these items to the center. So we can say text align to the center. Then you can see the text is aligned. We also need to align the items. So we can say align item center. Everything now is in the center. Let's start styling. So to start styling, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to style this description. It has a class of description. If I go back to the HTML, you can see the class is description. So Command C there and Command V here. So you can see the description, we grab it using the dot description. What we can do here is reduce the font size and say font size 0.7 rem. Now it looks a bit nice. So the next thing is to change the color of this and make sure it is a bit small. So we can say .cta font size 0.8 rem and then color of #CF8204. You can see the color changes as well. So this is why we are grabbing it by the .cta because that's the class we assigned it. Finally, let's style the button. So to style the button, the first thing first is to make sure that we get rid of the background color so that we can specify a new background color. So we can say background color of the blue color. You can see it. Then the text is not visible, so we need to make sure the text is visible. So how we can do that is by saying color of white. It is visible now. The next thing is that you might realize that the edges are too close to the text itself. So what we can do now is to give a padding. So these paddings, you have to try them out or wait for the designer to provide you with them. So that's 8 pixels, 12 pixels, and then border radius of 5 pixels, like that. And then a font, let's increase the font weight of the button. So font weight of maybe 600. That one is semi-bold. And then font family we want to inherit. So font family inherit. Right, it looks a bit nice. The next thing is to make sure the border is transparent. I'll show you why. So border, then you can say 1 pixel, solid, transparent. Now you can see it starts to squeeze, and then a cursor should be pointer. So if I hover, you can see nothing happens. So let's target the hover state, and then hover. And then what should happen on the hover? We change the background color now to transparent. You can see now it's gone. And then we change the color to the blue color to blue. The next thing is to make sure the border color is visible. Let's say border color blue. So you can see the state changes as too fast, so we can add a transition. Say transition, say 2 seconds, 0.2 seconds. So now if I hover over here, you can see it changes colors to match what we wanted. So finally, what I'm supposed to do is that when you click on the gift button, when you click on this gift button, it should rain some snows like elements, and then you're going to tackle that in the next tutorial. So stay tuned and like, follow, and subscribe for more, and make sure you repost the video. Thank you.